Hi, everybody. This is Crypto Rich, working with you to get rich with crypto, filling our pockets with crypto profits. I have with me a very special guest. He is the CEO or the founder of AnChain. We're going to be AnChain, AnChain. We're going to be finding out about what the work they do, plus also looking at some of the scams that are going on in crypto and how they work to prevent those and stop those. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, come over to BitTube because I post my videos first on BitTube. Follow me on Twitter, CryptoRichYT. Join my announcements channel. And please subscribe, comment, like, and all that stuff. It really, really makes a difference.
Take the first step towards online privacy. Get NordVPN.
Hey, good morning, and also, well, good evening from me, and good morning to you, Victor. Thank you so much for making yourself available.
Great to be here. Thank you. Thank you for the invite, Crypto Rich.
You are so welcome. And I was recommended to you by a very good associate of mine in the crypto space. And he said, you have to speak to Victor AnChain. You have to. Now, the first thing I want to say is it AnChain or AnChain? How do I pronounce
AnChain, yeah, so AnChain, AnChain.ai. It's actually, I can explain a little bit about the name, right?
Yes.
Actually, AnChain in Chinese means security, okay? And it's a name that starts with an A. We always like to have a name that starts with A in a very competitive market, right? And also our last name is AI. That's in our DNA. Right. We are an AI company. We are a Silicon Valley AI startup, and our differentiation is how we leverage AI and machine learning to build that product that can solve the blockchain security problems.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's AnChain AI.
AnChain. So how do you do that?
How do you do that? Yeah. So we can explain the company a little bit, right? So we are an AI-powered intelligence company that enhance blockchain security risk and compliance strategies and all that. And our mission is to build a blockchain transparency for all. Blockchain transparency for all. Okay. So how do we do that, right? So for example, we have a few products that are covering several aspects of the blockchain security space. For example, transaction, where we're analyzing the transaction. There are billions of transactions out there every day, right? So it's already at the scale that a human cannot scale up with. Okay, so that's why we leverage AI to analyze all the behavior patterns in the blockchain transaction. Okay, that's number one. Second is we call the code security, especially the smart contract. Okay, smart contract is an important aspect of it. So we have a patented technology called the smart contract auditing sandbox that is leveraging AI and analyze all the past behavioral pattern inside the smart contract execution patterns. Okay, and then it's designed to find new vulnerabilities. Okay, and the third one is called infrastructure. Okay, as you may know, right, blockchain is still in a very early stage, right? You are seeing those infrastructure being hacked constantly, right? So it's getting more and more rare right now. But if you remember a few years ago, like those Ethereum DAO attack, and then 2 years ago, right, 1.5 years ago, there was the EOS, the infrastructure being hacked also, right? And with those adoption in the private blockchain industry, you're going to see it happen more and more often. Okay, yes. So these all three aspects, right? We apply AI to transaction, and then the code security, and then the infrastructure.
Okay, very good. Well, let's start with the infrastructure first. Actually, before we do that, because do you want to say something about Sushi Swap? Because you've got an article, which I think kind of highlights what you do.
Yes, exactly. And that's actually fall into the transaction. And that's actually where we spend most of our effort, right? Innovating the transaction security and artificial intelligence and all that. Yeah, so right now, DeFi, decentralized finance, is the hottest topic in blockchain, right? I think it's like there's already $1.5 billion, right, locked in the DeFi system, right? This is actually an incredible number if you think about how early is this and how much money is already being allocated into this pool, right? So, and then so Sushi Swap, we had an investigation like a few weeks ago, right? And then I think this is actually manifest our mission statement, right? So transparency is right now the biggest challenge in the industry. Okay, so that incident, right, or whatever how you're gonna call it, right? So It's happened at the September 4th or 5th, right? Depending where you are, right? So we are the first company that we're constantly monitoring all these blockchain transactions, and like I said, we're using AI and behavioral pattern. That's why we can always ahead of others. Okay, this is at the moment. This is on the at the order of magnitude that a human cannot keep up with now. Okay, so we actually found out that in September, right, early September, there was the developer, right, Chef Nomi, right, he was trying to cashing out, right, he's moving his Sushi token into another address and try to cash out and all that, right? So yeah, I mean, and as a Sushi swap is basically a fork of Uniswap, as you guys may know, right? Uniswap is the most popular DEX in the industry right now. It's like it's backed by the legitimate VCs and all that, right? And then so this Sushi Swap is actually a very interesting a project, right? So it's a very interesting DeFi project. We call it more like a vampire style because what they do is develop another piece of a smart contract that will suck the blood from that Uniswap pool, the LP pool, okay? And yeah, they do it for a few weeks and all that, and they're getting a lot of traction, right? They're basically based on the Uniswap ecosystem do not have any token. Okay, right. And the Sushi Swap, basically they want to launch hey, I want to launch a Sushi token for you guys, and then that's the way how they monetize on that pool that actually did not belong to them at the beginning, right? So it's a very interesting strategy. I mean, like I said, DeFi, blockchain is open space, right? There's nothing wrong with this kind of innovation, right? But the problem is that they accumulate those trust from the communities and all that, and then this guy was trying to cash out. I think then later on they kind of settle with the FTX and all that, right? But the moment that they try to cash out, right? We are the company that leverage AI that to detect it, and then we actually launched the that transaction flow, right? And this is also important, right? I mean, a lot of people. There's another big problem in this community is called a FUD, right? FUD, right? It's usually people just spreading around those nonsense rumors. Okay, yes. It's not backed by
fear,
any
uncertainty,
evidence
and doubt.
Oh yeah, exactly. And that's one of the way to solve it. We believe is to use more technology to bring transparency. For example, when we saw that transaction graph that you can share with your community, right?
Yep.
It's so apparent that this guy was trying to cash out. There's no way he's moving that 5 million assets away from his pool. Right, and that pool is supposed to be the developers' funding, right? He's not supposed to cash out that way, okay? And then we call him red-handed. I think he went out and apologized and all that, right? But I mean, this is actually something we try to fix here. There's a gap, okay? Do we have a technology? I think we do. We do have technology, right? And we are not the only company that have built out technology like this, okay? Right. But is that technology available? Not really, right? That's why we are the first company to announce it. And when we presented that screenshot of the transaction flow from our CISO product, it's so compelling that he had to come out and apologize to the community. And then he returned the fundings and all that. But it's good that we caught him, right? We caught him, and then we kind of helped bring justice into this early industry. That's okay. I think that's what's missing right now.
Okay, yeah. That's very good. That's very good, Victor. And who? Actually, let's stay with the transactions, and then we'll go on to the infrastructure and the smart contracts as well, right? Yeah. So what about with privacy coins like Monero, and one that I'm particularly interested in and involved with, which is Pirate Chain, where there's no data on the blockchain? What sort of challenge do they present?
Oh yeah, that's I think that's some challenge we're presenting. But right now, as of 2020, right, I think most of the market cap is like 80-90% of the market cap is still in those UTXO or the Ethereum, like the account-based blockchains, right? So yeah, we are not that worried about the privacy coins and all that, right? Although we do have some research very focusing on like Monero, which is a crypto node. That's the blockchain, the algorithm they're using, and we also analyze. I mean, we research into Zcash, which is using zero knowledge proof, right, and all that, right? And yeah, I mean, so right now we're more focusing on this public ledger, right, kind of data, and because the data is available for us, for our for research for us, right? And then they represent the majority of the market cap here, right? But I mean, yeah, if privacy coins go to the mainstream, I'm sure that we will have a way to find it. I mean, I've been in the cybersecurity industry for over 10 years now, right? When I started, cloud security is not even a thing, right? But now it's everybody. Like we are actually talking to each other across the cloud, right? And then you think about all this privacy and security metrics being deployed to protect our channel, right? So stuff like that. So yeah, we are solving the current problem right now, which is the blockchain industry's lack of transparency. And the technology is already there. It's just not publicly available. And that's our mission. We're trying to bring blockchain transparency for everybody.
Very good. Okay. All right. So that's the transactions. Now, the smart contracts. So is it like you do audits on smart contracts? Commissioned audits plus also non-commissioned audits. You'll do a check anyway.
Yeah, it's a good point, right? So yeah, our mission, right, is always how we can enable technology to the general public, right? So that's actually a smart contract is a very interesting beast, right? It's only around for a few years, and Ethereum is the first blockchain that bring it to the mainstream, bring the smart contract technology to the mainstream. And right now, I think over 80% of the smart contract is written in solidities and all that, right? Mm-hmm. And then this is actually representing a few problems here. One is a new technology, right? And then people, when they're right, for example, when you're learning a new programming language, right? It's very easy to make mistakes. I'm talking about those stupid mistakes, right? You may sometimes when I'm working on a spreadsheet on Excel, I'll make a silly mistake. I don't mean to defraud anybody, right? I got the formula wrong. Yeah, exactly. So that's something we believe we can develop a tool to do it. Okay, so yeah, that's why we build this smart contract auditing sandbox. It's free on our website. Feel free to check it out. Right. So we support mostly right now the Ethereum. Like I said, we are a small startup. We only have 15 people. We don't have all the resources to solve all the problems in the blockchain, but we are following the majority of the problem here, right? So, like I said, 80% of the smart contract written in Solidity, different versions. So now our smart contract auditing sandbox is free for everybody. You can go up and upload your smart contract. We will run the audit on the fly for you. It's it's only scanning for the known vulnerabilities. Okay, this is what we believe that all this tool can add value to avoid you to write those stupid mistakes. For example, sometimes you may use those deprecated statements like you can actually cause big problem like reentrancy bug, right? So now it's actually, if you're using the later version of it, it's actually pretty hard to make those stupid mistakes. The tool is also evolving, right? But there, I believe or not, there's still a significant portion of them are written in that way. If they read the old tutorial from back in 2018 or 17, that's the problem they're going to run into. And then look, if they log any community's assets into that piece of smart contract, remember, on blockchain, code is the law, okay? Yep. Code is the law. It is the law, okay? So if you make mistakes on that, it's actually, first of all, right, you are not being responsible for the community you're committed to, right? That's actually some stupid bug that the hacker can actually drain the money out easily. And this actually happened a few days ago also,
Kucoin.
Right? Yeah. And there's all kinds of crazy DeFi and all that, right? But then there's a second problem here, right? So I'll just talk about those vulnerabilities or the bugs that can be solved by the tools and all that. Another big problem we're facing right now is governance. Okay, that's what in a smart contract, right? It's just a piece of software, right? You can write the software in whatever way you want. Okay, but then look, most of the people, I think 90% of the people, like the investors and all that in the cryptocurrency industry, I don't think they're technical enough to actually try to understand what's going on in the business logic. You're not going to have those time to go through those 5,000 lines of Solidity code and 100,000 lines of those library that they're calling and all that, right? So they run into some issues, right? So maybe, there are some issues in the governance, and that's exactly the problem I talk about, right? In the Sushi swap. Why would you allow a developer to have that much authority to move the funding as whatever he wants? That is actually representing a governance problem, if you think about it. Okay, that does not mean that a developer makes stupid mistake in the code. That's a totally different problem, right? Maybe they're intended or unintended, right? But there are some vulnerabilities there, vulnerability in the way in the business logic. Okay, that may introduce governance problem. Okay. And I think this is the big problem with Sushi Swap and all other different DeFi's now, right? So that part we have to get our experts, right, to read it, to go into the code and try to compare that source code with the white paper they have, right? And then we in-house will use formal verifications and all those cool technology, right? But it's still a pretty manual involved process, right? So we can actually help them, right? Find out, okay, there's actually a problem in your governance model. Is this what you want? Because we found discrepancies from your implementation with your white paper. Is that something you want, or is just something that you can actually fix, right? So we will, after our audit, we will present the report. We'll include that aspect of it, right? So, yeah, and then. Yeah, this also is a combination of tools and also expert review, right? That's what we do, and to make sure that the smart contract code is actually delivered. It's first of all, it's secure, right? And second, it's implemented in the way that is going to be responsible.
Yep.
Right, and then this is actually quite important, right? People talk about the hackers and all that all the time and all that, but if you think about it, right, who would be really responsible for that assets, right?
Because I get it. Because I'm thinking about, because I do, like many people, will do online banking. I want to make sure that and I'm sure that the banks do, they take every single care and precaution to make sure that the online banking is secure for people. Mm-hmm. So I get it, and it's the same thing for the blockchain world. All right.
And then one point I'll add here, right? So you're making a very good analogy here, okay? So comparing the blockchain DeFi with the existing banking industry, but don't forget, banks like decades ago they made stupid mistakes too, okay? They ruined the trust and all that, right? But then with those strong compliance and regulation from the SEC, from FinCEN, they come in, they strictly regulate that industry. Okay, that's why the banking is actually in a very legitimate way, right? They like, for example, if you are taking your customers' saving, you have to get the FDIC insurance, right? Yep. Stuff like that. And then if you are actually running a bank, online or offline, you have to follow all those compliance like Sarbanes-Oxley and all the auditing practice and all that. We do not have that in the blockchain industry as of 2020. But I think it's coming. Okay, this is actually why my company, right, get funding both from Silicon Valley and also Wall Street, right? We are seeing that it's going to happen real soon.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
that's going to help.
The other thing that I think going to make a difference is the competition.
Competition.
So if, for example, this bank, using that as an example, they don't take care of customers' funds, well, people are going to go to another bank. So then with something in the blockchain world, so if this project doesn't take care of token holders or coin holders' funds, well, people will go to another one.
Very good point. Yes, that's the market transparencies and all that, right? And then it's always good to have some healthy competitions there, right? Yep. And this open world, this is great.
Yep. And I think that's also particular with regards to exchanges, which I think comes into the work about infrastructure, the third part.
Yep. Yes.
So do you want to say what you do with exchanges, and can you name any exchanges that you've worked with?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's most of